Good morning. It's me, Karen Romano Young. It's day 3 of my reading a chapter a day of A Girl, a Raccoon, and the Midnight Moon by me, with illustrations by Jessica Bagley, published by Chronicle Kids in January 2020. Brand new book. Chapter 2, Beheaded. "This way, everyone," said Mom, beckoning the crowd of curious neighbors to the garden. Pearl trailed behind, one hand on the doorframe, the other on her stomach, furious and sick. What did everybody need to come here for now when things were bad? They didn't come when things were good. Vincent's head was completely gone. Where it had previously been anchored, now there was nothing but a metal spindle coming out of her stone neck. Her stone body looked solemn, shortened, sad. Now her outstretched hand, usually generous or hopeful, seemed truly empty, raised palm up as if to say, "Give it back." Pearl hung behind. She thought maybe she was going to throw up. The cops pulled in, swirling their lights, their siren making hearts jump all over Lancaster Avenue, bringing more people running, including Simon Lowe, the library page, showing up late to his job, shelving and straightening the library's 41,134 books, sweating, swearing, his black hair in a ponytail, dismounting his bicycle elegantly. "What are the cops doing here?" The girl who lived across the street, over gullies, turned with a flounce of her sparkly ruffled shirt and a flop of her braids, and answered. She knew who Simon was from watching him out the window of her apartment. That's Francine. "That library girl's gone insane," she said. "What'd she do this time?" Simon pushed his way through the people to where Pearl stood beside the statue pedestal, shaking with fury, a hand protectively pressing Vincent's foot. He put his hand on Pearl's shoulder to get her attention. "What's going on, Pearlie?" Pearl's eyes flashed hot at Simon. "Vincent's head," she said. He hadn't even seen. He glanced up and gasped, then hooked his arm around Pearl's shoulders. Pearl loved him for it. Even Mom hadn't thought to hug her. The tears that had been welling in her eyes started coming down her cheeks. That's Pearl and Simon at the top right, behind the statue of Vincent. It's Bruce on the left with Mom, a lot of the other library people near them, and some of the people from the neighborhood at the bottom of the picture. Simon said softly, "It didn't hurt her." "Punks," said Gully. "Teenagers, college students." He always thought anyone under 20 was trying to steal from him. "Who says?" said Pearl. "You can't go accusing people just for being a certain age," said Ramon. But the police seemed to accept Gully's suggestion just fine. "It's bound to be pranksters," one of them said. What a disappointment the police were. Their main contribution was to stand around looking at the statue and shaking their heads, as if they didn't know where to begin. Pearl could tell they were already thinking, "Case closed," and she had to speak up. "What makes you think it was more than one person?" she demanded of the 3 cops. A tall lady with dark curls, a big pink young one, and an older black man with a mustache. They looked at her like she was a kid and didn't answer. "Just think of it, Pearl," said Simon. "You'd have to climb up and take the head off that pole on her neck." "That would take a lot of muscle," said Alice, who was pretty athletic herself. "It looks like someone had trouble doing that very thing," said the mustached cop. He led the way to the side of Vincent's pedestal and pointed out a deep scrape in the polished stone. "And here," said the girl with the braids, "there was a chip in one fold of Vincent's long skirt." "And see here," said Pearl, glaring at the girl. Who was she, and not wanting to be outdone by some new kid? This was Pearl's library. She pointed out a sloping, rectangular imprint in the soft sand between the paving stones. That's from the ladder, said Simon. The ladder always stood leaning against the back library wall, where the window washer left it. Pearl walked over to look. In the sandy soil at the base of the wall, she saw a few small footprints, as if a miniature human, with long hobbit toenails had been here. And next to the word hobbit, there is a little tiny number 1. And you can see that down at the bottom of this page, there's also a little tiny number 1. This is called a footnote. And it says, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, George Allen and Unwin, 1937, features hobbits, humanoid creatures that always go barefoot. There are a lot of books in this book, and the footnotes tell you about them. So somebody grabbed your ladder and used it to get the head, the policewoman said. Then they must have put it in a car and driven away. How heavy a piece of stone was it? Piece of stone, said Pearl indignantly. Behind the yew bushes on the far side of the dumpster, a silent, stealthy intruder pricked up his ears at the mention of stone. What makes you think there was a car? Mom asked the cops. Why not just that wheelbarrow? The lawn-mowing man kept the yellow wheelbarrow against the wall beside the ladder. How could you wheel a head away without anyone seeing? Asked Pearl. The police exchanged a glance and couldn't help smirking. Head'll end up somewhere funny, the mustache man said. Somewhere funny? Pearl burst out. She stood between them and what was left of Vincent, arms crossed over her middle. Bruce said, Steady, Pearl. She's right. It's not funny. I think it's scary, announced the girl from across the street. Pearl stared at her. Why does she think anyone cares what she thinks? Wish I had long braids like that. But also, Pearl was a little scared herself. Mom stepped forward, too. What exactly do you mean by funny? Pearl knew that tone of voice and the judgment it carried. Mom might as well have been talking to someone about incurring fines. A sidebar about police. When it comes to crime, police have to set priorities about what gets their attention. Priority goes to the crime that has the biggest impact, that has the most rich or famous people, that causes the most trouble, that sets records for blood or drama. What doesn't get priority? Holdups at donut shops, someone's radio getting stolen, wild animals getting into the garbage, stolen heads of statues in the back gardens of old libraries that nobody visits. But the police aren't the only ones setting priorities. People looking for stories find the kind they're looking for more easily than the kind they never considered. But some of the best stories come as surprises. By M.A.M. I just mean amusing places, said the mustached policeman with a guilty little shrug. Like, maybe the head is tucked in with the pineapples in the green market. Or on the pitcher's mound at Yankee Stadium, said the pink one. Oh, I get it, snapped Pearl. Somewhere funny like that. The cops smiled because Pearl was a bratty kid, but just a kid. We'll do what we can, they told Mom and Bruce, and they finally got professional on their way to the police cars and examined the driveway for tire tracks, but found none except the ones from Ramon's pickup. Think he's got a head in the back? The pink policeman joked. Pearl said, Ramon wouldn't take the head. He's from the library. Just a joke, young lady, the mustached policeman said. Not funny, Bruce said, so Pearl didn't have to. Bruce waved the police officers away. Keep us informed, he said to them, but it was plain that the library was on its own with its vandalism problem. If you haven't seen the first 2 chapters, I'm on Instagram reading them, and I'm also on YouTube reading them. Pass the word. Thanks you for listening. Bye.